He's going to get the biggest group of big fuckers.
Yes, there it is. Shotgun a Red Bull.
Sorry.
We had an off bet. We had an off-air bet. If he dropped an F-bomb, he has a shotgun a Red Bull.
I said I'd do it. I said I'd do it.
Let's go. I was going to just ask you to say it, too.
I wasn't sure, but I just went with it.
I love that you went with it.
I figured we're digital and there's no rules there.
You talked about confidence. You said it with confidence,
right.
too.
I mean, fuck that shit.
That's two. You had the interception in that game, too, right?
Yeah.
So there was also the fumble on the play.
Yeah.
But Danny recovers.
Yep.
Who gets to keep that ball? Do you get to keep the ball for the interception, or because he jumps on, does he get it?
I'll give it to Danny.
Okay.
Honestly, because that could have been bad. That could have been bad. Like, even to this day, I tell Danny, man, thank you for having my back, because that could have went from a great play to an infamous play real quick.
Yeah.
Like, for them to, if they would have got that ball down there and scored, that game is different. So, shout out to Danny Trey, man. I love you.
Look, the first day that I could visit with any club was the 17th because of the league rules and protocols. And so Craig Penner, Condi, and George Payton were there the morning of the 17th. And I kind of knew where they were at. And I also knew that they had to keep grinding because no one knew what the compensation thing was going to be like. So they had to have plan B in place. I felt strong then. But I, too, also felt like, hey, can compensation be worked out with it? I wasn't worried about my compensation. It was more about, can a trade be done? So, at the beginning of the process.
I think it was hard for you. It was hard. We had to hear it every single press conference.
I don't know how you did it. My favorite one is after the post-game interview when you guys lost and everybody's sad and nobody wants to hear Broncos country, let's ride, and Russ still snuck one in there.
As he's walking off the podium.
That was just painful.
Yes.
Just painful.
I feel like I've seen you rock a visor before.
No.
It's a golf guy move.
He was insulted that you even asked that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to actually think if I've ever worn a visor. Not with the hair. I don't know. Would you put the bun above or below?
I think you tried both.
We wouldn't be the ones to ask.
Yeah, it's very true.
Above or?
I think you gotta go.
Yeah.
You gotta go a little.
Would be like two.
Go top knot with it.
But the way you have it now, though, you have to go
It would be below.
Yeah,
It would be below.
See?
This one's a little bit off topic, but we had Alex Singleton on this week, and as he was leaving, he said that next time my back was turned, he was going to tackle me. So I've been a little jumpy. I think I can get away. I was wondering if you have any tips. Like if he tries to tackle me, like how do I break that tackle? How do I make him miss?
Low man wins.
Low man. Okay, I've got that on him.
I got that on him. Low man
Wait,
wins.
you're 6'3".
Yeah, I mean a lot of times you'll see guys know to just go low. But if anybody was to stay tall and high, then you're not gonna stand a chance if you're higher than me. I'm already 6'3".
Okay.
So yeah, it's easier for guys to go ahead and chop me down, but low man wins.
I would love to go against Randy Moss.
Yeah,
That's a good
Best.
Because that's one of the guys where I ask, legends, my dad, of course, like, who you had problems with? And he was like, Randy Moss was a different breed, so I would love to go against Randy.
And then you can tell your dad, like, I didn't have any problems with him. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I would love, to have that battle, if I was to play in the past, of course, but, I think it'd be a great battle for sure.
If you want to know what it's like to play for Sean Payton, go on my Instagram, Emmanuel Sanders, at Emmanuel Sanders, and look at the last post that I posted. It was we just won the game with Sean Payton, playing music in Club Dub, and you'll find out what Club Dub is because he's bringing it to the Broncos, and he's grittying through the locker room, right? Like having fun. He's a player's coach, but also he's one of those guys that pays attention to the details of the game. You're gonna have fun, but you're gonna have to work hard, and he loves to win. And so, when I heard when we fired Nathaniel Hackett, I say we because we are Broncos country. When we fired Nathaniel Hackett, I was like, Sean Payton. If we can get Sean Payton, man, that would be beautiful because he's gonna provide consistency.
Well, it's funny because I will say who my dad is as a coach and who he is as a dad can be different because he's super intense on the field. I mean, you guys have probably seen him through the years in New Orleans just screaming, going crazy. And I wouldn't say he has that approach at home. He's super calm. I think he's a fun guy. People probably don't realize that as much just because of his intensity on the field. But he is weirdly detailed with random things. So I'll sometimes, but it isn't his work mode. So I'd go up to the office in New Orleans and I would see yellow pin has to be here, green pin. I don't know if it's some OCD tendencies, but No, he's definitely a detail-oriented guy.
I'll tell you this. Gary Kubiak, before every game on Saturday nights or Sunday night, if we had a Monday, would play what we called Saturday Slappies, just fail videos that made us laugh. They had Aqib Talib on a roller coaster screaming his guts out. They had different players afraid of things. They had Wade Phillips dancing at his daughter's wedding. It was awful. So we had fun like that. The biggest speech, I believe, though, of that season was before Pittsburgh, and it was DeMarcus Ware who talked. Actually, it may have been before New England, he came in, he had a suitcase, and I was like, I don't know, is he leaving, going home tonight? Who knows? So he starts talking, he unzips his suitcase, and he slams down a Lombardi trophy, and he said, they want to take this from us. Mm-hmm. And he goes through and names 30 different players on how they stepped up at different points of the year. They're trying to take this from us, and this is ours to take. And it was just, that was it. We just set the moment, getting the chills now. I mean, it was in another example of how a fantastic leader and teammate made a message and delivered it. It was amazing.
What's going?
Desert.
Wow.
It is a desert, yeah.
Oh, bro, they're asking about you in the comments right now.
They do. They miss you.
I know, I heard, yeah.
Yeah.
Even though he was rudely tweeting at me last night.
He did pick up on your tweets.
Yeah, when I get home and all my updates are just Henry just trying to bash me, and I can't respond. Like,
he's
go
so red
get
right
him.
now.
Like,
oh, it's terrible.
I'll defend you if you go after him.
That's true. Let me use your mouthpiece. I just want to say,
there's another
you're
one,
a free
right?
agent.
Yeah, don't you work here?
Not my best move there. You're a free agent, so I know you have to like keep your image up. You can't be fighting with me on Twitter. This is my time, and you're not gonna stop me.
I know.
Yeah, go Grizz.
Wow! Don't let him get away with that.
I mean, they've blown him out like the past 5
There
or 6
we go. There we go.
Okay. Well, what happened? What happened for the 100 before that? Tell me about.
You weren't alive
1918.
for those.
Tell me about 1918. What was going on?
I don't know.
Probably a Grizz win, though. Probably a Grizz win.
It was probably really cold.
It was probably really freaking cold, just like Arizona.
Where and when did that nickname come about?
My real name isn't even Jake, so I'm trying to, I'll keep. Jason is my real name, and in the 3rd grade there were 5 Jasons in the class. When I transferred in, the teacher said you have to go by something else. So I've been called Jake before. Mrs. Jenkins in the 3rd grade. I've been called Jake, so my name became Jake. Well, as I progressed through playing sports, and I read Kenny Stabler's autobiography, and he was the Snake in football, the original. My brothers started calling me Jake the Snake, and their friends called me Jake the Snake. I went to a basketball camp, and Chris Childs from Boise State and Arnell Jones, the basketball players there who I looked up to like they were gods, called me Jake the Snake. And so everybody started calling me Jake the Snake. And I signed my first autograph at ASU, Jake the Snake Plummer. I was like, I'm doing this. And I became the Snake, and thank goodness I could act like a snake and perform somewhat snake-like movements out there and make people miss. Like I say, why do they call you the Snake? I say, well, have you ever come across a snake and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, there's a snake, and then all of a sudden he's gone? Yeah, exactly. You see me in the pocket and then I'm gone.
So should the expectation be to compete for the playoffs, to get into the playoffs, or is that a little bit too lofty coming off of 5 wins?
You went and you hired Sean Payton, and you paid him a lot of money, and you traded draft picks for him, and last year you traded draft picks for Russell Wilson and players. You should absolutely be expecting to go to the playoffs.
I forget what party it was. It was like I think it was Chainsmokers or something, and they ended up building like a warehouse from scratch, like in an empty field. Oh. And we're there, and like Andrew Siciliano rolls in, the host of our show on NFL Now, and it's him and Vince Vaughn. And, like, if you know Vince Vaughn, like, enormous Vince Vaughn and Andrew, like, not as very enormous. They walked in like Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger twins. And all of a sudden, and there's just, like, 4 of us hanging out. And I'm like, Andrew, why is Vince Vaughn with you? He's like, I don't know. He watched me on Red Zone. We shared a cab here, and he has nobody to hang out with. So we end up spending the entire evening with Vince Vaughn. And I made him laugh a couple of times, which was, like, to me, a huge, like, Wedding Crashers, Old School, like, Name the Movie. Swingers was, like, the DVD that was in my player every single day of college. And I remember asking, like, we're all, like, drinking up there and hanging out, and I was just like, I got to do this. And I was like, hey, man, do you ever think Jamie O'Hare was ahead of his time. When he played the quarterback in Rudy, and do you remember he played the quarterback in Rudy that gets. He said, "You suck ass. You suck, right? This asshole thinks it's the Super Bowl." Remember that? That's Vince Vaughn. Like, nobody really remembers that's Vince Vaughn and Rudy. So, and he's the quarterback. Remember at the end where he comes running in? They're like, "In comes Jamie O'Hare. It's easy to say his career has been a disappointment." You know what I mean? Like, and he's the throws the pass and says, "That was for you." I was like, man, you ever think? I said to him, I was like, "Did you think Jamie O'Hare was kind of ahead of his time, like the bad boy quarterback? I mean, like, if it was like present day, dude would have been big man on campus. He wouldn't have been demoted by any means." And he was like, "Ah," like it's like Vince Vaughn, like laughed. And I was like, "Yeah, this is the greatest thing ever."
Successful.
But then I was like, "Hey, dude, look, I got to get a picture. A huge fan." We take a picture, and then I'm having a time. I'm like, "This is great." Turn on, gone. And I was like, I think I broke the bro code. And I took a picture. And the shitty part is you can't even see us. It's like so dark in this venue. It's like I'm telling my boys, I'm like, "That's Vince Vaughn." They're like, "Yeah, sure."
Comments want you to tackle Henry.
Yeah.
I actually...
Not right now. I'm going to come by just randomly.
There we go. Take him offset.
Don't think you can take me right now?
No,
Need the cheap shot.